recording on?
All right, it's on.
Right. Hello there, Marko.
Hi, Hock.
Yeah, it's so good to see you and have you back. And it is a pleasure. So, before we continue, let me say hello to beautiful souls looking at this video. And it's another episode of the consciousness shift. And today we are interviewing or we are talking about various deep subjects which Marko will of course explain it as simple as possible, but in also detail. And the subject is Marko will explain will be, first of all, let me ask you, Marko,
Yeah.
let's talk about vibrations today, the low vibration versus the high vibrations. How do you define them? What are the examples? Let's start with that.
Okay, great. So why I have chosen this subject for today is because, of course, people who are trying to create this false matrix light, they're trying to impose the fake paradigms, which are limited. And in my last video on my YouTube channel, Health Consciousness Rise, I explained how you should not protect yourself, but build your energy body as a prevention. And then with your energy body, as building your energetic structures and high up your vibration of your field, the evil forces just run away because they cannot handle the light.
Right.
So that's from that point, I want to make an introduction. So high vibration is expanding and creating, and low vibration starts to take because it cannot survive by itself. So what are mechanisms? Mechanisms are very complex, dynamic process through which existing energy of creation circulating, growing, and then passing away. The Buddha was talking about similar things, yeah? You recognize it as a Buddhist. Right.
Correct, yeah.
So what is the difference? Low vibrational dynamic, there is always a victim. There is always a victim and someone who is sucking up the energy of the victim. Because low vibrational energies never cannot create but by itself. Remember it, okay? So in psychotherapy, let me give an example, okay? When the person is under stress, I say, okay, what do you feel right now? I'm angry. Okay, so you're not angry, you feel anger. That's number one, okay? Do not identify with the feelings, especially low vibrational ones, because you will become that, okay? Your informational field will receive that, okay, will resonate with vibration of fear, which is really low. From that low position, you cannot solve the problem. So the second thing, expansion of low vibrational dynamic and energies is forceful, violent, impulsive, and with extreme polarities. What do I mean by that? So these propagandas of crazy vegan people, feminism movement, extreme liberalistic capitalism, it is extreme left, which is extreme feminine energy. It is the sick mother who tries to protect its own child, but in a very insecure manner. So every try to improve that is an aggression. From the other side, we have extreme yang, when he's very forceful and violent, such as, for example, extreme Nazism. We had that extreme fascism in Italy or Soviet Union. Even here in old Yugoslavia, we have in some period of time something like that. Circulation. So there is no circulation of low energies.
Yes.
In low energies.
Yeah, as I understand, energies cannot be stagnant. They
Exactly.
must flow. When it is stagnant, for example, in the human body, in Chinese traditional medicine, we call it blockage, and therefore it causes diseases.
Exactly.
And in the concept of Gautama Buddha, it will be the middle way, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you should be extreme left or extreme right. So what you're telling actually re-emphasizes the importance of finding that balance.
Yeah. Yeah. Always. Okay. It is all right for our viewers to explain. I don't say you should not be dominantly yin or yang in some segments of your energy aspect, but I do say be as closer to this golden middle way as you can. For example, dominantly in my teaching and energy work, I am, like, I would say I'm 60% yin, 40% yang. Okay, sometimes I have to push you, sometimes I have to be fast, okay, and to use power, okay, not force, power. But
Right.
I'm more like a nourishing and really really slow and really gentle. Yeah.
Yes.
So in low vibrational energies, we can see these deviation in mechanisms when there is no circulation, like both-sided process of giving and taking, but there is just taking. So it is a one direction. Okay. Cycles in low vibrational dynamics are repetitive and uniform, monotonous, boring. Okay. And what is that leading to? It leads to habits and addiction. So
Oh,
mechanism of habit and addiction is low vibrational energy.
right.
Okay, so let me give you an example. How they misused these Pavlovian experiments of classical conditioning.
Yeah.
I know that as a psychologist. So they perfected the knowledge of how to create habits of people, and then create or just program their nervous system to act always the same, so they can predict, and so they can do it again, and lead to something new, what they like. They will always lead you to something which is taking you freedom. So addiction is just a lack of freedom, and lack of freedom has happened because it is the repetitive pattern, and you cannot get out from that circuit.
So, in other words, this is a very subtle form of mind control.
Yes, exactly.
Mm.
Okay, so we don't speak yet about NLP and covered hypnosis and just the 5G, maybe another time. But now we are talking about classical conditioning. But usually the simplest techniques are the most efficient ones. So I'm talking to you just to become conscious of how that works. Once you recognize that, you will be able to defend or deflect these attempts to make you a slave, right?
Right.
And passing away is reluctant or unwilling. These low vibrational energies does not want to go away on a calm manner, but in a very, you have to use the power, okay? They are using force, but in a difference, be different from them, okay, use power. Use an unlimited power, they cannot resist, so they can go. And that will happen in 21st of January, 2021.
Really?
Yeah.
Can
So
it?
Dracos will come back to Draco belt,
Oh, right.
and we can start our cleansing work. Okay. So high vibrational dynamic is everything. What in a contrary to low vibrational dynamic. So it is. It has order, in a symmetry, in harmony, and everything is transparent. There is no hidden things. Okay? Expansion is powerful yet soft. From this reason, in my teaching, I choose to be very yin. I do expand, but in a very soft way. Like we say in Serbia, the deep water and the stone will roll.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and the circulation is growing, giving everyone by deserving because they are doing their good deeds. Cycles are creative and always different but simple,
Oh,
and there is no passing away because the high vibrations of love, joy, freedom, and peace are what God is. So basically, it never passing away.
so, and then what about just now earlier on you talk about source of energy,
Yeah.
and so can you tell us something about that source of energy and what do people or how do people draw these energy and where do they draw it from?
Very good question. Okay, yeah. So why low vibrational energies has to be replaced with the power when something spiritually more mature is willing to replace it, and high vibrational dynamic never passes away, but just it keeps itself over and over again, because God, creator, is the source of this energy, right?
Yes.
So that's why they say energy can never be destroyed or created. The energy is the language that God communicates with us through vibration, through word, and through water, through these three forms. The next thing, the next time, Hock, I will talk about etymology, or the history of language and root of language, why some word has some meaning, and exactly how we came to that.
Oh yes, they were telling or talking about words having power.
Yes, exactly. So that's why God communicate with us through these three forms: through vibration, through word, and through water. And the one same what same element for these three is the wave. So the
Wait.
energies and vibration always comes with a wave. Okay, so if we talk about the sources of energy and from what source someone draws that, we have three levels of depth. Okay, so a person, so it is basically a choice, conscious choice. Okay, someone can be a person, little me or ego, which is very limited, and they believe it starts from here and ends with the tip of their toes. So I'm my body, I'm my mind, I'm what I'm thinking, which is not true. Okay, and that is basically a prison. That is very limited, and we are all aware of this. Second identification is in between, when a person identifies with the spirit because it is led by some principles of freedom and justice. But what is the problem with this is there is no soul, there is no essence, right? There is just some forceful pushing. And there is a lot of yang energy there, but there is no soul. There is no the essence. Something is lacking always, okay?
You know,
And
you know, Marco, the
yeah,
Taoists have a term for it. It's called Jing.
Jing, yeah,
Z-S. Jing, all right?
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, I get it now, yeah. Mhm.
And the third uh, level of identification is when you identify with your being, with what you are, and realize that you are one with God. Okay, so with that comes the realization what is your soul purpose, and you're just led by this creative force, and nothing can stop you. You're
You know,
basically unlimited when you realize this.
thank you very much, Marco, because I had been thinking on my own about these being, human being, all right? The catchword is being, like
Yes,
being in now and being with source. Rather than just to think that you are just this body. So everything is confined and limited. So when you are a being with source, I think it opens up. There is no limit to your knowledge, your power, and everything. Am I right,
exactly.
Marco?
Yeah.
Oh,
So, and we told energy cannot be created or distorted or destroyed, sorry, but it can be distorted. Okay.
mm,
What Dracos or some other bad entities do, because they cannot create by themselves, they just distort. So they just turn, okay, make it the low vibration so they can ride that way. You
I see
see,
now. Yeah, explains a lot.
if we do not willingly want that, they can basically do nothing. So
Mm.
just when yes, a good friend of mine from Serbia, he told like whenever you laugh from your heart, the one Draco dies from hunger.
I like it. I like it very much. That is why, actually, in my life, at every opportunity that I can laugh, I, I really laugh.
Yes, yes. yeah, you as a medical doctor, you know, like some hormones are kicking in, and it is healthy for body as well. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah. So now our viewers, they have a base of understanding. So if you don't have a mind, I will just continue about factors, talk about factors. So we can have this dynamic, high vibrational or low vibrational. If you consciously decide to be closer to God, okay, to just make it conscious, then you can lead progressive dynamic, which is delete what you're not, delete little me, realize the characteristics of the source, and realize that you are the source. So simple. The very good practice is letting go, pray, developing compassion. So yeah, just delete the little ego. Just to be clear, I don't say be mindless.
Uh-huh.
Okay? So the
Right.
cognitive aspect of mind is one thing. I, as a master of psychology, perfectly know this. Okay, so you can memorize, you can learn the language very quickly with channeling or without channeling. But if you let your ego, your judgment mind, your discriminative mind, your cognitive aspect of your mind will function even better and even quicker. Okay, and regressive dynamic is very complex. So Lester Levinson, the teacher of letting go, he told basically the misery is complex, happiness is simplicity. So all these factors and all these mechanisms that can lead you to recognition that you are the source are very simple. And regressive dynamic, which leads you to low vibration, enslaved to some energy sucking entities, are complex. So person do not want to hear the calls from God and the angels, at the same time wants to advance. It creates conflict. It creates the energy leaking because
Mhm.
the person is directing their energy in many directions at the same time, which leads to third eye opening and at the same time keeping the first chakra weak. What then happens? Knowledge through third eye decomposes personality, that is ego, and at the same time person is ungrounded. So ungrounded behaving out of uh, seated normal patterns, then person go to psychiatrist and he say, okay, you're psychotic, you have schizophrenia because you're depersonalized and derealized. So depersonalization is because many informations came, uh, which soul cannot cope with because it is overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So at the same time, third eye is very open, and first chakra cannot ground that. That mechanism is behind the psychosis. There is no psychosis. There is
Oh,
just disbalance.
right. Oh, wow. This is really, really deep. And I appreciate it because just the shift in the consciousness when you decide that you're going to be with Source like source and in frequency with the good and high vibration, everything changes around you.
Exactly.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. So there is another key point I want to bring, and I want to talk about these are circumstances.
Okay.
So when people say, um, uh, well, I have a trauma because this or that happened, I was like, oh boy, here we are again. So I want you to realize that circumstances are signs on the road. There
Oh,
is a reason why something happened, and you can choose how you can interpret. Even more so, you
mhm.
can let it go and wisdom will remain. Okay? So, uh, how you can overcome repetitive patterns we're talking about, that is one of characteristic of low vibrational dynamic.
Mhm.
So, what do you need in this moment to be is to realize that you're loved, that we are oneness with creator and creation. Okay, love is unity of creator and creation. Okay, and that is unconditional giving in harmony. Harmony is
Right.
unconditional giving, which then disintegrates by itself unharmonious energies and turn it into nothingness. That's why I say you don't have to protect your energy body, but you have to strengthen your energy body so the negative patterns can decompose inside out.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
Gosh.
so now I want to do releasing exercises with our viewers.
Hey,
Okay, cool enough.
yes.
Okay, so just allow yourself to check and see, do you judge yourself or others due to some circumstances happened or not happened, and something which is something that your ego calls bad? And just pick one situation. And could you just open at least for a possibility? Could you just be at least a little bit open to true and accept that person, those circumstances, in that moment or of time, just in that way, should get into your life?
Oh,
Yeah,
can
I know
you
it's shocking. Yeah.
can you
And
explain a little more, Marco? Can you explain a little bit more?
okay, yeah. So the circumstances are the signs on the road.
Okay.
The way that something happens, when it happens, how it happens, and when you realize and looking it uh, from a state of peace, you realize nothing other and in no other way could happen. The proof is it happened that way. So
Oh,
when something happens, you have to just meditate on the situation and from a higher vibration see what is happening and why, and you will find the source of the suffering. When you find the source of the suffering and get the information, you can break the karmic patterns.
oh,
So
nice.
the next question is, can you let go of any negative emotion and let the wisdom remain? So cut the all ethereal chords with emotions while you're contemplating on this event, and just let the wisdom remain. And could you accept the truth that happened is the only thing that could happen? Very simple thing. Okay.
Yes.
So I will send these questions to Hock. You can put it in the description so the viewers can do it and practice.
Yes, that's right.
Over and over again.
I remember Albert Einstein once said that you can't solve a problem if you remain in the same level as the problem.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you remove yourself to a higher level, higher frequency, then you're able to see the issues at hand and solve the problem.
Exactly. So never try to solve the problem if you are under stress, under fear. Let it go first.
Yes.
Deep, like breathe deeply a little bit, contemplate the situation without judging. Then you are on a higher situation. You're above situation. That's why if you're above situation, you're standing above.
Yes.
That's why in English they call understand. You understand above the problem so you can see under.
Right. Yes, yes. And there's another saying that I heard before, Marco, about never make a decision when you are in anger.
Because your awareness and consciousness is like this.
Yes. Yes,
It's very narrow. It's not wide.
Yeah.
So you want to have 360 degrees around you. Okay?
Okay.
So we are talking today about this, and I want to give you a very practical tool you can use when you choose what method you will implement in your personal, in your soul development and spirit development and overall growing of your being. Because I wanted to talk about this topic just because of this. So this is like a central juicy part of today's interview. So but people are always asking me same question. That's why I want to bring this out. So like, but there is so many teachers, gurus, there is so many methods and techniques. How the hell how the hell I will choose? One thing you can do, you can measure it. Watch the previous interview with Etienne Charland. And it is very well explained. I have nothing to add. That is quantitative measurement. But I want to bring out the other side, how we in Andromeda and Lemuria do it. So we have a few criterias through filters, and through that filters can just pass the truth. So the first criteria is intention. So if you have a bad intention in the moment of creation, that technology will have like two sides. If you hear this bullshit over and over again, how well, it is very powerful, but it can be misused. Why? Because it is created, it is intended to be so.
Okay.
So let it go, just discard it. So realize that you're not different, and but what is given to you is different. So you are not different. That is ego perspective. I am different. I am important. I am big. because ego knows that it is small and it has to cover something by what someone has or what someone does.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, so what is given to you is this spark. That is different. So we are from the same source, but beautifully different.
Beautiful. And actually, Marco,
Yeah.
I would advise our viewers, and including me, to go through this recording at least a second time.
Yes.
And if they get it, if they really get it, they will gain so much.
Yeah, just by watching this, they will grasp a lot, and just many energy structures will be opened. And in
Yeah.
the end, I will give the blessing with compassion with
All
my
right.
pink Lemurian crystal. So
Yeah.
that will be very,
Yeah.
very helpful in their
Yeah.
path.
Yes.
So third filter, action motivated by love, power from one side, or compulsive growing terrorizing force. So when the drug addict wants to take another drug, because it is the mechanism of addiction, it is compulsive growing terrorizing force. And if you're motivated by some power that is expanding so effortlessly, uh, that is the real stuff. So if some technique, technology, or just method or teacher is forcing you to do something and compulsing, it is compulsive and growing, and it has a force in it, discard it as well. And another practical tip that Hale Dwoskin taught me, uh, he says like this: if you have repetitive thoughts in your mind, if you let it go and that never comes back, it means it is a normal, usual thought from your mind, so it is irrelevant. If you let it go and that comes back, but with a power, it is motivated by love and peace. That is the real deal. You should do it.
Oh, that
Very
is a
useful, right?
great tip. That's a great tip.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
love so much.
so, Hawk,
Yeah,
can I ask you something?
sure.
If you do, when you do feng shui, do you focus first inside out or outside in?
Wow. Very difficult question, Marco, because in Feng Shui there are two schools of thought and they
Okay,
clash with each other. But
exactly.
my master had always emphasized, all right, that for Feng Shui of a house building, the outside Feng Shui is most powerful and most important because you can study energies inside a dwelling. But if you have forces outside which are far more superior and strong, whatever you do inside, you may not be able to counter. So a,
Exactly.
a building with good feng shui is dependent on the outside, just like the tombs of the Chinese emperors. They chose a spot where the environment, the layout of the hills, the land, the water are all supporting the tombstone.
Exactly. But okay, for feng shui it is great, but for the alchemy,
Okay.
uh, it is vice versa. It is inside out. So if you try to change yourself by buying yourself a new clothes or buying yourself even crystals and not using them, it will not work. So you have to change you have to transcend inside out. So
Yes.
there are three processes: transformation, transmutation, and transcendence.
Attendance.
So they are higher, like in a hierarchy. Transformation is a really shallow change, and it can, yeah, you can do, like, you cannot do a lot with it. Okay, transmutation is a good stuff, which means the low vibration you can just make it higher. But the best way to do it inside out, which is the golden phase and the red phase in alchemy, shiny red phase, which is transmutation. Let go of everything what you are not, and just see what remains. So yeah, that is basically very simple. Let go what you're not, you will stay the purity that you are, you always were, and you always will be.
Okay, Marco. Now let me talk about what you said about internal
Yeah.
alchemy. All
Yeah.
right. You know, I discovered when everybody asks me, how can I change the world? I would tell them, like all the
Exactly.
concepts, you don't change the world, you change yourself, and the world changes. That's
Wait.
alchemy.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Very good you brought that out. That is exactly application. So, yeah, like many people want changes and yet they don't want to change. Yeah, like remember Mahatma Gandhi?
Yeah.
He told, be the change you want to see in this fucking world.
Yes.
And what I always say, the one who has stronger reality, he will win. What means stronger reality? If you're really grounded in your peace, in your love, in your freedom and harmony, that will manifest in the world. So if someone is just terrorizing you and telling you you should change this or that outside, just discard it.
Yes.
And the next criteria or filter we are taking is it process creative or monotonous? Okay, everything that leads you into something uniformed, into some habit, it leads you to addiction.
Mm-hmm.
If that is the case, discard it. Uh, if the process is, it can be always the same if you see the technical way, but you always feel it differently, beautifully different, and that is the real deal. And the last one, I have to talk Hock about freedom, because I think also it is the big one. Yeah.
Yes, because I've been telling my friends and everybody else, do you understand the word freedom?
No, they
Yes.
they don't.
They do
Trust me.
not. Yes. So once you understand the value and the meaning of freedom, wow, you got a wow factor. Carry on,
Exactly.
Marco. Carry on, Marco, about freedom.
Okay, so because freedom is the word that is manipulated.
Hmm.
Okay, so what is the freedom of demons or satanic freedom that is very well uh, preached in today's world? It is limited by time, manner, and space. In a
Okay.
contrary, freedom of God is permanent and eternal. So ask yourself, is that what you're doing, thinking, and just what you are, is that leading you to limitation, or is that leading you to will it give you permanency and eternity in a peace and love. Second one, freedom of demons is conditioned, takes energy by time, and demands some kind of sacrifice. It is really popular in the youth, in teenagers. Please be careful, okay? For the parents, please do not, if you're unable to just educate your child and spend the time with your child, buy a dog for him. Do not put him in front of the TV just to watch the cartoons for 14 hours. Please don't do that. They will be conditioned, and they, yeah, it is the sacrifice of their energy. Freedom of God is unconditional, does not force, but gently encourages to live by the laws of universe and God. It is gentle, okay? It is not force, it is power. And last but not least, freedom of demons is rigid and leads to anarchy and extremes and leads to disorder. That is freedom without responsibility. So if some feminist or some human rights people or some NGO people are telling, oh, you can do whatever you want just because you're different. No, that is freedom without responsibility, my friend. That is not a freedom. Okay?
Okay.
Freedom of God is sturdy, so it's not rigid, it's sturdy, it's solid, okay? And it is clearly defined. So you cannot do whatever you want without consequences, okay? So you cannot do bad deeds just because someone told you you can do whatever you want. No, no, no. That's satanic freedom.
Yes.
So you know the consequences of your action. Therefore, the freedom God gives you, and you always will give anyone, is the freedom with responsibility. Very important.
Oh, I like that word, freedom with responsibility. Wow.
Exactly. That's the balance. That's like the balance of yin and yang.
Yes.
Exactly. And the energy direction I was telling you, so is it the one way or the both ways? Is it circulating? And the last but not least, and then you can ask some questions, Hock, and we will do the blessing, is the characteristics of perfect technologies. I got that through communication with Lemurians. I want to announce that I will publish the book in Serbian. These are 7 Lemurian notebooks that will be for a few months available, translated in English and German on my site Andromedia Alchemy.
Okay.
And yeah, if you're interested in that process, you can contact me via my email, which will be in description. So they are talking about characteristics of technologies of perfection that we are using in internal alchemy. It is dimensionally unlimited. So that what you're doing, it works through all dimensions at the same time. It is alchemizing inside out.
Yeah.
It is consistency in simplicity. Okay? So it's not easy, but it's simple. And it is there is consistency in it. It is immediately effective. Okay, this one scares people. Heldwaskin is telling me this, that people get back the tapes to him, and Heldwaskin like asks why, is something wrong? Like they're like, like, no, I was just scared how effective it is. Okay, so get used to it. These technologies that we are bringing out is immediately effective.
Oh, interesting.
It is unable to be distorted or misused. So it is not the sword with two edges. It is not this mystique thing, because the moment it is given to God, from God to humans, it is given with intention to be peace, freedom, and love, and universality in application. It is universal. So it is technically the same, but it is universal, and it can be directly applied, um, like the the matrix of God, as I want to use that word. Uh, Principles of God and universe are directly applied to these 3D and further.
So I tell you, Marco, I had a, I'm having goosebumps when we are talking about all these truths. And are you going to show to do some Lemurian crystal thing today?
Yeah, exactly. So it is just to say, viewers, do not be confused. Do not try to figure this out with your mind. Let go, figure this out. Listen with your heart, and listen at least 2 times,
Yeah.
and you will have profound realization. And I will now take my pink Lemurian. Just a moment.
Okay. So anyway, let me continue. I would like to round this up with a analogy. All right.
Right.
When I was a young boy, I went to the circus, and at that time, they had these wild animals, tigers and lions in a huge cage, and the
Okay.
trainers would come, sit, roll, jump through the ring, and all. Then I remember I asked myself, these animals are so powerful. One swipe of the paw, the trainer will be flung meters away.
Yeah, the punch of the tiger is 11,000 pounds.
Yes,
Yeah,
but the reason these lions and tigers don't do it is because one, they are trained or brainwashed. Two, they do not know their power within.
exactly.
So if we, our viewers, ladies and gentlemen, if you realize the type of power you have in your inner self, and you have this freedom from the cage of mind control, you can imagine how powerful you are. Is that right?
Amen.
Is that right, Marco?
Amen. Praise be to God. Yeah, exactly.
So
Okay.
if you remember this little experience I had in the circus as a little boy, I think you would understand the meaning of freedom, the meaning of being yourself, believe in yourself, know that you are powerful beings of light. Wow.
Beautifully told. Okay.
Okay.
Now with that, I just
Mm.
want to call Mother Quan Yin, Mother of Compassion, uh, the source itself, unity of Divine Father and Divine Mother, all saints, archangels, and angels, all the beings of light to join us in this meditation. Let them send, support you, and lead you to the path of light. Feel the force, feel the power within. Realize now that you are light and nothing else than that. And see now the true remains, while within your third eye all illusions are turning into nothingness. Express gratitude and thankfulness to all masters who helped you, and ask them to help you and guide you through your path.
阿弥陀佛. Thank you very much, Marko.
Thank
And
you.
with that, I will end this interview. And we wish our viewers all the best. And remember about the whole